My name is Taylor Smith, and today I would like to talk to you about the importance of early childhood education. Education is the one thing that every child should have the opportunity to obtain. They do not only have to receive education from school or teachers, but they can begin receiving education way earlier in life. It is important for parents to begin teaching their children good lessons from the very beginning, whether it's something that has to do with school or other things such as life lessons or how to make it in the real world. Studies show that children who started learning earlier in life tend to lead a more successful life, are more likely to obtain a high school and college diploma, and perform less criminal activity than children who did not begin at an early age, according to Brookings.edu. You hear people say all the time that a child's good education starts in the home. This is true in so many ways. Not only do children learn their first basic things at home, such as walking, talking, crawling, and learning to color, but children also take their first attempts at learning colors, shapes, numbers, and the alphabet at home as well. Once a child begins to learn the first things, it only makes it easier when they're learning to read, write, and do other more advanced things in the beginning stage of their lives. It is so important that parents provide a good educational home for their kids to grow up in, as stuff they learn in the home environment will stick with them throughout their life and provide them with the basis they need to strive in the future for many years to come. It is a proven fact that the earlier a child begins learning, the more successful that child will be. If a child is being taught at home basic learning skills such as reading and writing and other learning skills, the further education will be easier on them. When a child begins learning early, it prepares them to be in the learning environment, especially if they are enrolled in preschool or a daycare program. In these programs, children will become well adjusted to being in a set learning environment. These programs also help children become more adapted to a schedule. Although these days are not typically as long as normal upper-level school days, it still allows children to start a schedule and get used to learning at another place besides home. Aside from developing academic skills, kids are also able to get a jump start on building emotional as well as social skills. All of these things prove to be more prevalent in kids who are enrolled in early childhood education programs, while others fell behind in the academic, social, and emotional departments, according to GettingSmart.com. All of these things will assist children in being more successful in many areas throughout their lives. All the reasons why early childhood education is important causes a domino effect for the rest of the child's school and professional life. When a child begins learning at an earlier age, it causes many positive effects to happen afterwards. This leads me to the main points I would like to elaborate on. As I have already mentioned, education should begin in the home. Next will be that early education allows children to better be able to comprehend things in different kinds of situations. Another point is that early childhood education prepares kids for the long road of school life ahead of them. Lastly, I want to elaborate on how teaching children academic along with social and emotional skills early takes a lot of stress off the teacher's hands for many years. Like I've already said, home is where the education begins. If a child begins learning as soon as possible, they will be better able to learn throughout the years, and it'll be easier for them to start elementary school. However, learning does not have to always be academic. Although teaching a child skills such as writing, reading, or even beginner-level math can have a massive, significant impact on the rest of their learning, children need to be taught life skills as well. Studies show that kids who do not begin early education had more behavioral issues than kids who began learning at an earlier age. This is because they lack the emotional and social skills they need to better get along with other children or teachers. These children are also more likely to fail classes or drop out of high school than those who began learning early and practicing academic and social skills at a young age, according to NAEYC.org. On the other hand, children who began learning early, academic and socially, are more likely to be successful all throughout their school life. All of this, however, does not depend on their child. A massive portion also depends on the child's parents and how involved they are in the child's education, or if they are involved at all. It is up to the parents to teach the kids right or wrong, and if they do not teach them, then it's not the child's fault for not knowing the difference. This means that if a parent is not interested in their child's learning or bettering the child's learning experience, the child will not show their own interest for learning in return. This further proves that the parents' involvement in their child's learning helps them in the long run. Another great advantage is that the child will have better comprehensive skills. The earlier a child begins to learn, the quicker the child will continue to learn for years to come. If the child begins at an earlier age, they will develop better comprehensive skills, which will allow them to be fast learners. This will enable them to catch on to topics quickly and learn about that topic thoroughly in an effective manner. Children will be better prepared to start school as well if they are exposed to a school-like environment early on as well. If a child learns to read and write at an early age as well as to do some basic level math, the child may be able to participate in advanced classes or programs. According to AdvancedEd.com, children who begin learning early on in life tend to be more advanced than children who learn later in life. These children have been known to not only have better grades, but learn at levels much quicker than other children. These children have longer attention spans, which allow them to learn more at a more efficient rate. All children are sponges, but these children that begin learning early soak up more knowledge than children who had somewhat late start to learning. Lastly, early learning relieves a lot of stress from teachers' shoulders. According to HuffPost.com, teachers see way less issues with students who have education-supportive household than those who do not. When a student has a supportive family that helps with early education, they tend to do better than school. Teachers tend to have an easier time keeping the child's attention and the child more apt to learn. These children have also learned respect and what it means to show respect at a young age, therefore pose fewer behavioral issues to teachers than students who are not exposed to that kind of discipline at a young age, according to HuffPost.com. These children display more patience and cooperation with teachers than kids who do not begin early learning. To further my points on how important early childhood education is, I found a couple statistics that I would like to share. Without high quality early education learning, 25% of kids are more likely to drop out of school, 40% are more likely to become a teen parent, 50% are more likely to need more specialized education, 60% are more likely to never attend college, and 70% are more likely to do violent crimes in the future. These statistics also show preschool participants and non-preschool participants. The left side shows preschool participants and the right shows non-preschool participants. And it shows here that more kids are likely to need specialized education when they did not attend preschool, and more kids are more likely to be held back a grade if they did not attend preschool. However, you can see that the students that did attend preschool have a way higher graduating high school rate than the kids who did not. This topic is very important to me due to my future career choice. I'm currently on track to transfer in a couple years to a university to get my degree as a high school ag teacher. I have learned personally that kids perform better when they begin learning as early as possible. I think that it is very important to begin teaching a child very early on in life because there are near to no negative effects. All positives surround early childhood education, as it not only helps a child in their early stages of life, but for the rest of their life as well. I cannot stress how important it is to care about the education of a child, no matter how young or old the child is. If education begins early on, the child will reap the benefits for the rest of their life. Not only does it help the child though, as I have said, it will also help the parents, extended family, friends, teachers, and professional teammates. The point I hope to get across well is that the early child begins learning, the better off their life is likely to be. The more involved a parent is, the more likely a child will be inspired to work their hardest.